Hello everyone, I'm Hoko. When you are moved by a beautiful scenery, or when you have a happy or a sad event, why don't you write a poem about your feelings? You can make a poem with 3 lines. This video is about haiku. If you want to know the basics of haiku, please watch this video of mine. Haiku is a Japanese poem. Haiku is the shortest poem in the world because it has only 3 lines. Today, haiku is the international word. Lots of people enjoy composing haiku all over the world. Japanese haiku has 2 rules. First, haiku has 5, 7, 5 syllables. Second, haiku has a word showing a season, so-called a season word. These 2 rules don't apply when writing English haiku. In this video, I'll show you how to create Japanese haiku that can be used as a tip when creating English haiku. You'll appreciate haiku by 13 great Japanese poets, including the 4 greatest haiku masters such as Basho, Buson, Issa, and Shiki. From short poems, you are free to imagine situations and scenes. I hope this video will help you in composing your haiku and appreciating Japanese haiku.
Basho is the greatest haiku master in Japan. In his journal, he said, "Let the little children do haiku. Haiku made with a simple child's mind and adorned with words is promising." Basho thought, children who don't know how to decorate their words sometimes produce better phrases than adults who are particular about words. The first haiku was written by Ida Dakotsu. He composed a haiku when he was 9 years old. Ida Dakotsu is one of the leading haiku poets of the 20th century. Motsu hana ni otsuru namida ya hakamairi. Flowers in my hands, offering to the grave, my tears on the petals. The child is about to visit the grave. Tears are falling on the flowers the child is carrying to offer there. In this haiku, the readers can feel the poet's uncontrollable grief. Haiku is a literary art form in which the poet and the reader share the situation and the feelings of the work. Sketching the scenery is one way to create haiku. It is a manner of an objective sketching of a scene, but behind it, scenes and emotions that cannot be expressed in words are hidden. The 4 great haiku masters composed many haiku using this technique. Hatsuyuki ya suisen no ha no tawamu hodo. The first snow makes narcissus leaves bend backward. Shiratsuyu ya ibara no hari ni hitotsu zutsu. White dewdrops, one on each thorn of the wild roses. Umegaka ni shouji hirakeba tsukiyoka na. Slight scent of brown blossoms, open shoji sliding screen, clear moonlit night. Koi hanete, tsuki no sazanami, tsukuri keri. Carp jumping out, creating ripples on the moon, reflecting the water. Shiki advocated the use of objective sketching in haiku, and his greatest disciple, Takahama Kyoshi, left many haiku using this method. Here is the haiku composed by Takahama Kyoshi. Toyama ni hinowatari taru kare no kana. Widespread dead fields, mountains lie far beyond, where sunlight pouring down. In haiku, you can also write about your realizations and surprises. As examples, We'd appreciate the next 4 haiku. The haiku was written by a female haiku poet, Nakamura Teijo. She was one of the leading haiku poets of the 20th century. とどまれば、あたりに冬るトンボかな。Something stopped my steps. Look around to find autumn dragonflies. As she was walking, something closed in front of her eyes. When she stopped and looked around, she saw autumn dragonflies flying around. She thought it was still hot summer, but then she realized it was autumn. The next is about snow. 降るおさえ、忘るる雪の静かさよ。Silent snow makes me wonder if it is falling. The haiku was composed by Fujimori Sobaku. What did he notice? He noticed how quiet it was, so quiet that he forgot it was snowing. Fujimori Sobaku was a merchant who lived in the late 18th and early 19th century. In addition to haiku, he also enjoyed drawing pictures to accompany his haiku. It is said that he became so obsessed with haiku that he spent his fortune and was very poor in his later years. The next is about cherry blossoms. Cherry blossoms are a favorite flower of the Japanese people, but they bloom quickly and fall in a short period of time. 世の中は三日見ぬ間に桜かな。After 3 days at home, not seeing out there, cherry trees in full bloom. The haiku was written by Oshima Ryota, who lived in the 18th century. When the poet went outside after staying home for 3 days, he was surprised to see the cherry blossoms already in full bloom. Cherry blossom viewing has long been an important annual event for the Japanese people and has been depicted in many ukiyo-e woodblock prints. Today, this haiku has been interpreted as a proverb, changing its original meaning. The word is like a cherry blossom that falls within 3 days. It is used as a metaphor for the rapid changes in the world. 万緑の中に赤の葉生え染る Beginning to sprout, baby teeth in my sweet child, glorious green everywhere. The haiku was composed by Nakamura Kusatao. In early summer, when everything is green, the poet notices that his baby child is beginning to grow small teeth, and he writes a poem about his joy. One of the techniques of haiku is personification. This is the use of plants, animals, or nature as people, such as a bird sings, a flower smiles, and so on. The next haiku is an example. 海に出て木枯らし帰るところなし Out to the ocean, the cold wintry wind has nowhere to return to. The cold wintry wind is wind, so it blows. However, in this haiku, it is described as returning like a human being. Yamaguchi Seishi wrote this haiku in 1944 when he was 33 years old, staying by the sea under medical treatment. At that time, Japan was in the midst of World War II, and the war was close to defeat. Many young men were flying off to battle on a plane with one-way fuel. They could never return to their homeland again. Yamaguchi Seishi composed a haiku with these young men in mind and published this haiku after the war. Basho, the greatest haiku master in Japan, says, "Learn about the pine from the pine. Learn about the bamboo from the bamboo." One of Basho's disciples explains that to be genuine, a poem must contain the spontaneous feeling that comes from the object itself. As an example, I'll show you one haiku composed by Tomiyasu Fusei. Clouds are floating here and there in the summer sky. The haiku expresses the feeling of being a cloud. Tomiyasu Fusei lived in the 20th century. 夏空へ雲の落書き奔放に Clouds in the summer, floating here and there, graffiti in the sky. You can write haiku about your circumstances without hesitation. From the haiku, readers are free to imagine the writer's living environment and thoughts. As an example, here's one haiku composed by Murakami Kijo, who lived in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. He is famous for describing his circumstances in his haiku. He lost his hearing when he was young, and after marrying, he lived a poor life for the rest of his life because of his many children. 月さして人間の家でありにけり One tiny room lit by the shining moon. That's all I live in. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.